Oh, he's recording. Okay, so I think we're good. All right, welcome everybody. Let me change my view so I can go to gallery and see everybody. That's better. All right, welcome. Well, I don't know where you guys are all at, but it's raining like you can't believe where I am. I feel like a drowned cat.
Really? Is it?
It is cold and raining.
It's gorgeous here in Texas.
Who says it doesn't rain in California? Huh. They don't know anything about it. Well, welcome to this week's TNT, where you have myself, Carol Ray of Notary 2 Pro, and Bill Soroka, Sign and Thrive. Bill is not available to stay with us on the call, but he is recording it for later. Carol, do you have anything you want to share? Any win or any good news or anything like that? What are you excited about?
Oh, I'll tell you what I'm really excited about is that we moved to Texas. A lot of people know we moved to Texas, and we have a beautiful piece of property here. It's right next to Lake Corpus Christi, about 2 blocks. And we have a new manufactured home, which is on our property. It is just about ready to move into. And we are beyond the moon about it because we've been here 3 months and we've been waiting for the house to get completely ready and everything. So we're very excited about it. And I have a scooter. I can go around the neighborhood now on my new scooter, and I get to go down and watch the lake and see the birds and the ducks and all that stuff. Exciting.
That sounds exciting. Well, yeah, I have some news. So many of you know that yesterday, a year ago, my son, younger son, got married. And now he's going to make me a first-time grandmother in about 3 more weeks. And he's not done with surprises. So Sunday, open up the newspaper and there he is. So my son, if you don't know, has done a lot of research in the area of fossils and dinosaurs and all the different kinds of animals that used to roam the earth. And one of them in particular is the walrus. And he identified 3 unknown species that were never known before. And so they talked about his research in our Modesto Bee and in the Turlock Journal and some other one. And his work has been published in some very big deal research magazine that I'd never heard of or probably would ever read, but it's a big deal for him. So I'm excited for him and his progress with his career. And by the way, he put himself through college with me and he was a notary too. So I love that. So that's what's going on. Huh, Carol?
Article. I read the whole article. You should be very proud. Whoa.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll see what comes out in 2022. Every year it comes out with something else to surprise me. So the other thing I want to share is one of my notary stories. So I went to notarize a document last night. And, you know, I teach the notary mandated training in California. And one of the things we joke around about is inmate IDs, because we're one of the states that accepts inmate IDs as long as they're incarcerated, they're on the inside. So if they come to your office with an inmate ID, I'd be wondering about that because they're really for the inside, not for the outside. So I asked this guy for his ID, and what does he give me? An inmate ID at his grandma's house. Like, wait a minute, do you have anything else? Because this is only good on the inside. And he said, yeah, this application is so I can get my birth certificate, so I can get my driver's license here in California. So, I mean, it was all reasonable why he didn't have other ID, and I had to go to credible witnesses. But first time that I had to handle or be presented with an inmate ID, but in somebody's home, not when I go to jail to do work there. So it is possible to have that happen. Okay, so today, let's see, if you've raised your hand, we've already got 4 or 5 people raising their hand. We're gonna go through them in an orderly fashion. What I ask is that you say where you're from at the beginning of the call so we know what state we're dealing with in case you're asking a state-specific question. Also, I ask that you get right to your question so that we can answer everybody's question today. So I'm going to start with, oh, and by the way, we see everything, we hear everything, and we know everything. So keep the clothes on, keep everybody out, and keep the camera on when your clothes are on, and then we'll be good. So Leanne, I'm going to ask Leanne to unmute because she's the
Hello.
first one I got.
Hello,
Hi,
everyone. Hi, I'm from Vegas,
From Vegas,
from Nevada, state of Nevada.
Nevada.
My question is this. I am doing part-time loan signings, and I'm wondering if I should advertise that way or market that way to signing services on my profiles or not. I have a full-time job. This is a part-time thing I'm doing. It's necessary for me to do it. I got furloughed in my full-time job, so my hours are the same, but my pay was reduced so that my why is necessity.
Right.
But I've got other groups that tell me I should put 24/7, but then I'm declining signings. So what is the best way to market my availability?
So I'm going to say something, and then I'd like Carol to please share as well. I don't think it's right to advertise something that's not true. And if you're not a 24/7 notary, putting that on there and having people call you for appointments at times that you're never going to be available really is false advertising, in my opinion.
I agree.
I am not a 24/7. I am full-time, and I'm 7 days a week, but I only work posted hours, 12 hours a day. And outside of that is by pre-planned appointment. So that people, when they see on Google, am I opened or closed, it shows I'm closed outside of those hours. In terms of a loan signing, if you're signed up, with 123 Notary or any of these profiles, and they're asking you this, you can put hours where you're available. I don't know that I'd be putting I'm part-time anywhere, but I would indicate if you're 7 days a week, and if they have a place for hours, what you can serve. Now, that's just my take, so that we, as public officials, we're in integrity with what we do.
Agreed. I agree. I've had people tell me, other groups say to me, well, put 24/7 and then just accept what you can. But I also feel like that's wrong, because then I'm declining stuff, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't make me feel right to do that. So I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I'd like you to hear another perspective, which is Carol. So Carol, would you chime in, please?
Sure. I absolutely agree with you 100%. What I do suggest to my graduates, however, is, well, a couple of things that are very important. Be honest. Whatever you are asked to a question about, you'll be honest about it, your experience, and just be yourself. However, you don't want to advertise that you have a full-time job.
Right.
Right.
But you can put down, that you're available most of the time. If you get a call when you are at work and you're unable to take it or something, then you just tell them you're booked. I mean, you don't have to come out and say, well, I have to work. Once you make a relationship and an establishment with a signing service or title company, then you can start letting them know your available times. Once they trust you and they know who you are, I think it's very hurtful to when you're signing up with companies to say, I do work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever at the outset, because a lot of these companies, they don't want to keep track of that. They've got too many other people that they can call that are available all the time. So just keep that to yourself. If you do get an offer, you're booked. If not, you can start working with companies during the hours that you can work and develop these relationships.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. All right, let me go back to my participants here. There we go. I was trying to, I know Matt's on the call somewhere, and I just wanted to ask him to help me out with the chat, because when I'm listening to you, I can't read the chat at the same time. So now let me get to my participants. I don't want to search for anybody. I just want everybody. All right, it looks like Martha Hinnett. I'm going to
Yes,
ask
I'm
you.
here.
Okay, excellent.
You can hear me?
I can.
Okay, I am in North Carolina. I ran across an opportunity on Notary side gigs of doing permit running for construction companies.
Right.
As you probably know, in North Carolina, we're restricted to $5 per notarial act. I've found conflicting data between the most updated North Carolina statutes and the NNA primer, whichever part of the country you come from, that one says you cannot have any fees other than the notarial act fee, and some say you can. So my question to you is, if I were to do that side gig and they needed a notarial act, but for $5, it is cost prohibitive to do that side gig, because you only have one signature, but you're running down to the permit office and back to a construction site, that sort of thing. So I'm not clear as to what the statute really says about fees other than $5 each for a notarial act, but can you charge anything outside of that? The other is, should that not be available to me because I'm a notary, could my spouse open up a permit running company? He charges the mileage and such and buys my services as a notary.
So let me see how I want to phrase this. North Carolina does have a statute that says you can only charge $5 for a notarial act, and they don't care what you call it. You can't charge anything more. That is it. Their end of story. However, permit running is a different kind of job and is separate from notarization. So if it were me, I would go and notarize a document, write a receipt for $5. That job is done. Oh, you want to hire me as a permit runner, which has nothing to do with notarization itself. I charge X amount of dollars. I'll go stand in line and get it filed and take care of that for you. It's a separate job, and you can have more than one kind of job in the that can be outside of the notary's one job that you have, or one type of assignment that you have. But you can be a permit runner, and a permit runner isn't notarizing anything. The notarization, if it was notarized at all, is in a different job. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's
yes,
where my confusion.
Your husband could have a business, and he could hire you to be a permit runner to say, look, we're going to charge $100 if you want us to send a runner down to you, pick up your document and go stand in line and take care of the filing of that. Yes. I think what's important is that you cannot have the permit runner job and income in any way associated to the notary job if it happens to be the same client and the same documents.
Right. So it might be best to not commingle, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Is to find out how the best way to keep it separate. And if that's for your husband to do the hiring of you, not as a notary, just as a permit runner, to run down and take care of that, that's how you make that money on the side.
Okay, so but I can still, should they not have a notary available to notarize whatever permit application is applicable, if I were to sign that as the notary, then I would just charge them a $5 separate fee?
I would charge them $5. I'd close out that job, give them a receipt. That's what they paid, $5. That's done. Oh, you have another job you want me to do? I don't need to notarize anything. You need me to run down to your county recorder's office and take care of recording the documents. That's a totally separate receipt, totally separate job, nothing to do with notarization itself.
Okay, so that could still fall under the umbrella of my company, so to speak.
Well, I don't know
how your separate job.
I don't know how your company is set up, and I'm not a CPA, so I cannot address
I understand.
that.
Okay.
I have no idea about that. All I'm saying is keep it separate. You can do both separately, but not together, because then it would be considered extra income with the notarization. They have to be totally separate jobs.
Okay, I just didn't want to compromise my commission for that. Okay, thank you. You've answered my question. Thank you so much.
All right. Carol, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, you hit it right on. I know people that do that permit running it, but a lot of them don't even require notarization.
Yeah, a lot of times the documents don't.
Do you know if it's a thriving business anywhere? I haven't heard of it much.
I think it's side work. It's not a thriving business all by itself. It's
Right.
one of the ways that an entrepreneur might make money. It's one of those streams of revenue.
They do a lot in
Right.
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, Cynthia's doing it there.
Well, my husband's retired, so trying to get him out of the house and get a little active. So the
Well,
money
there you go.
income is not, you know, trying to get him out of my office.
Gotcha. All
Yeah,
right.
that's really what it boils down to.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Martha. All right. Our next caller is Dennis in Oregon.
Hi,
Are you here, Dennis?
thanks for taking my question. I actually have a couple of questions, but I'll try not to hog the time. I'm a newbie. I've spent most of January doing a lot of training, absorbing information, and somewhere along the line, I heard that if you're at a signing and you actually botch something up, you sign in the wrong place or they sign in the wrong place, that you could pull the blank copy from their set of documents and use that in a kind of an emergency situation. So I just wanted an opinion about, is this legitimate? And if so, what do you do with the botched copy?
You just trade it out. So yes,
Okay.
all it is a second set. So I'd pull out the blank one from the signer's set and then give them the botched one and put the replacement in the signing set.
Okay, perfect, easy. One more question about APR. If somebody asks me about APR or why, to explain that, is that in my parameters to explain, or do I tell them to call their loan officer or somebody else to get into the details with APR?
So the
Well-
details are not for us. I'm going to have Carol respond when I'm done. The details are not for us because we're notaries and signing agents. We're not the people to explain APR. But when we introduce that section, or if you're introducing it in the closing disclosure where it is, certainly you can give a one line APR. This is the cost of your credit. That's as much as I say, just an introduction to it. And if they have more questions about what that means, then they need to talk to somebody else. Carol?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm going to start off by saying I said way too much when I was a brand new signing agent, because in fact, I had been an escrow for so many years and an escrow manager and everything. So I went into great explanation and then realized, oh, I'm stepping on some toes here. I'm doing things I shouldn't. But yeah, the simple explanation for the APR is this is your interest rate plus the cost of financing the loan divided by 12. You make it easy and simple. If you try to explain too much, it's not your job. You have to find that difference. And a lot of the people that are on this call and a lot of my graduates have been in this business for a long time, not as signing agents. And so there's a fine line between being an accountant and a signing agent, being a lawyer and a signing agent. So you have to be very careful about what and how you explain it.
Thank you, Carol. All right, Dennis, did we take care of you?
Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm going to ask for Mark B.
Okay, hey, I'm in California. My question has to do with the proxy, signature by proxy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I have a situation where the gentleman is, he's paralyzed, okay? Can't use his hands, can't use the mouth to do the mark, the whole thing. So I've been kind of digging in on this, and I've seen some stuff by the A9A. I saw your video that you did back in June about signatures, and you mentioned it briefly, which was cool. And I just want to make sure before I proceed, as far as he wants, what it is he has a big trust package, okay? And he wants his daughter to sign for him. Okay, but right now, there's nothing that says that she can sign. So do we have to do a power of attorney with signature by proxy where she's the agent? Does that make
So,
sense?
Yeah, in order for her to act as the attorney in fact for her dad, there needs to be a document that legally says she has that
Right.
power. And if he can't, and of course, you know, I've used fingerprints. If he's got his fingers, he could put a fingerprint on the signature line, and that's just signature by mark. A fingerprint is the same as a mark, same as an X.
Oh, any finger?
Yeah, any finger, it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I use a finger instead of a thumb. I save the thumb for the journal. So you use a fingerprint first, and then you have the two witnesses. And of course, one is going to write mark of whatever his name is. And then you have their two signatures underneath with the word witness. And that would take care of the power of attorney document. And then she would then have the power to sign the trust documents on his behalf.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first thing. That's the easiest way to go about it. Now I'm going to talk to you about signature by proxy. In California, power of attorney may be, there is law that supports having a signature by proxy on a power of attorney only. That's the only document it talks about. However, none of the guidelines for a notary on how to conduct that have been published by the Secretary of State's office. So there are no directions for you how to do it. If you were going to do something like that, you would want to reach out to an attorney to get direction.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying probably best way to do it is have a power of attorney written up that she's the agent. He just uses his fingerprint.
Right.
We have the two witnesses. Mm-hmm. And basically after that, she can sign all the trust documents.
Right.
At principal by agent as attorney in fact on everything.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Now, the one thing I'm going to, put out here, because I want to tell you one, I'm not an attorney, but if she's the trustee of the, first of all, she shouldn't have anything to do with that power of attorney being created, meaning she can't be one of the witnesses. It needs to be other people, other notary. Great. Now she's got this power of attorney, but acting as the power of attorney in documents where she's named as the trustee, I don't know if that is considered a conflict or not. I cannot give a legal opinion about that.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
So you might have to do some more, or she might have to do research like with the attorney who prepared the trust to make sure that there's no issue there.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
All right. I've got, is it Mara Contreras? I'm going to ask you to unmute. And then I'm going to lower your hand. Mara?
Hi there.
Hi.
I hope you can hear me. I'm driving. I'm a passenger, so we're good.
We hear you.
Okay, great. The example that you gave, Laura, about just before the call started, about the credible witnesses. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? So if there is no other ID, is the notary public, do they just pull out kind of a credible witness form, or was that provided to you beforehand?
Okay, so it depends. Credible witnesses are state specific. So some states don't make allowance for credible witness. Other states allow for one credible witness, but the witness has to know the notary as well. Other states like mine say you can identify that witness through their ID, one or two. And then in Florida, for instance, does have an affidavit for the credible witness for them to sign, and that's your job to have that. You can download it through the NNA website if you're a member. And then other states don't, like California, don't require any documentation. You just record it in the journal. So you get their signature and their IDs in the journal. Okay. So does that make sense? And so they don't go on, credible witnesses don't go on the document. They go in the journal. Now, just to make sure, were you asking me about credible or signature by mark witnesses?
Credible
Okay, I just want to make sure I was answering the right question.
Yep, you got
All
it.
right,
So yeah,
Laura, did you get it?
I did. I'm going to look into it for Illinois. So thank you.
All right, you are so welcome. All right, Sharon, I see you out there.
I want to raise my hand, but I don't have a raised hand feature.
Hi, did you ask for me?
Sharon, I did call on Sharon.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
a hand up.
Yes.
Hold on, Sharon. Hold on just a minute. Andrew, I saw you put your hand up on the screen, but that's not how you have to put your hand up. Please use the.
I don't have a function.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
he can go first, Laura.
I'll
That's
come
okay.
back to you. Sharon,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. My question is, I have a package with several jurats, and am I required to give them an oath for each and every jurat during the signing? Do they need to raise their hand and I give them an oath or affirmation for each and every one of those?
So Sharon, there's going to be more than one opinion on this. I'll give you mine, particularly here in California. But Carol also has an opinion on this, so I'll let her give hers after me. So I believe that you have to give it for each jurat you perform rather than at the beginning and then say it's for everything. And the reason I believe that is that when you read the statutory wording of the jurat, it's for that document. The jurat isn't for many documents, it's for one document. And so for each notarial act I perform, it says on that wording that he signed it in front of me and I gave him an oath. It doesn't say he signed them all and I gave an oath for everything. So that's where I come from. Now I am one opinion. I do think I have a very valid and strong opinion, but it doesn't mean mine is the only one. Where's Carol?
I'm here.
Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, we kind of disagree on this, but that's okay. We all have our own opinions. But I have been training my notaries for years to issue the oath and make it very important at the beginning of the signing. And it's amazing how many thousands of times I've heard that lawyers, real estate agents, escrow officers, signing services have not, or signing agents have never issued an oath to people. So I really emphasize the importance of that. Have these people raise their right hand, let them know this is serious business, because it is.
Right.
I administer the oath right before we start to sign the documents after I've completed the journal. I have them raise their right hand, I go through the oath, and I tell them, this oath is going to be in effect throughout the entire signing. However, I will remind you every time we come to something that requires giving the oath that you are under oath and you'll agree with me. And that's how I do it. It saves an enormous amount of time. Everybody understands the importance of the oath. They might laugh a little bit at the beginning, think it's kind of silly, but to you as a signing agent, this is extremely important. And also another little tip, every time that you issue an oath at a signing, find a way to make it consistent in your journal, whether you want to write the word oath or if you want to put an O a certain place, because if you ever get called into court, it's going to be the consistency. If the judge calls the notary up because the buyers have committed fraud somehow by maybe not disclosing a debt that they incurred while the process was going on, they want to look at your journal. You're going to want to show them, I do this every single time that there's an affidavits that need to be taken care of. And that way you're going to be free. The judge will excuse you and go after the buyers or whoever's under in the court.
Okay. And one last little question about that. So when you go to administer an oath or an affirmation, you ask them which one they prefer. Is that correct, or you just?
I have an oath that was provided to me by an attorney 20 years ago that covers both. So it's an either or kind of thing.
Do you swear or affirm?
Yeah, because I that's the way I start the oath. Do you swear or affirm? I don't ask you know, and they'll say, you know, I swear or affirm.
Right. So
Or
however
they'll
they
say, yes, I
respond
do. Or they'll say, yes, I do. And that's the answer for one or the other. So anyway,
So
I don't want to make it.
clarify. I need to hear, do you swear or do you affirm?
Okay.
Sharon,
All right,
you
guys.
used the one out of our library, right?
I'm not sure, but
Yeah, the
I
one that I have, I don't know
Just
if you
sure,
use it or
sure.
not, but it covers it all.
Okay, thank you both.
Welcome. All right. Patty,
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Patty.
Oh, good. Well, I've got a couple of questions. I'll try and be real brief. I just got my certification through the NNA yesterday. And so now I'm certified. And so a couple of things. I know I need a printer. And so I'm trying to find a 2-drawer printer. And it's got to be a laser printer, right? And monochrome. But I just wanted to know if you guys have any suggestions about the type of printer and where I might be able to find it, because I'm finding it hard to find a 2-drawer printer right now.
I have it.
Okay,
I
so
have
in the chat, because everybody's buying their own printers, why don't everybody throw in there what they're using or what they recommend? I use a Brother 6200, which is a dual tray. If it's in stock, Brother or Amazon, it comes on and off of there. You kind of have to watch for it. But I think everybody can throw in their 2 cents about, and you'll see repetition. Carol, what's yours?
Yes, I just found something this morning because one of my graduates called. And I found something. So if you guys want to take this down, I was very excited about it because you can have it by Thursday, according to Amazon.
Oh, wow.
I love HPs. I've had them for years and years and years. I love them. I found an HP Never Stop. It's a laser printer. It's a 1001 NW wireless, and it has toner, not cartridges. It is not a dual tray. However, it's $249.89, and it can be delivered by February the 4th. The toner for it is $87.89. I love these printers. What you can do is you can get the page separator. You go to page separator. If you're a Notary to Pro student, we have a discount, or they give you a rebate on it. If not, just go to page separator. And as long as a printer can print on both legal and letter paper, that's all you need.
Oh, okay.
So instead of spending $600 on a dual tray laser printer, you can get this one and spend $70 on, you know, the page separator. So I was really excited to hear this because it's been awful trying to get printers. So I hope anybody who's still looking, I hope that helps.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have another question. My sister is an escrow officer, and so she kind of encouraged me because I got laid off because of COVID. I was in insurance, and she encouraged me to go and, you know, get my certification for a mobile notary. And so my question is it a conflict of interest to take work from where she works? So she works for one of the large escrow companies. And is that going to be a conflict at all? Because when I was, you know, looking through the code on the, you know, for the National Notary Association, you know, I wasn't sure how to interpret one of those, you know, codes, rules.
Would you like me to answer, Laura?
Carol, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, no, not at all. If they're hiring you, if you're legitimately certified, you know what you're doing and you're capable of doing the job, she can assign, or they can assign anybody that they want to. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as she's not involved in the transaction, then you're you're fine.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good to know because, you know, she's the one who started me out. And so if she has some, you know, jobs for me, I just want to make sure that was ethical.
Oh, no,
And-
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually retired escrow officer and manager.
Oh,
If you,
that's a hard job. Very stressful. She's always stressed out.
Yep.
And then I had one other question. So now that I have my certificate and I am reading Bill's book, Sign and Thrive, but what are the most important things after getting the printer that I should be doing to get started?
Carol, do you want to talk about that?
Well, of course, I'm going to tell her you should take our training.
Yeah.
To get training, whatever fits you, but do your research. I tell people that all the time. It's important. You have to find a personality. You have to that agrees with the way you learn. Some people are very fast paced. They're very financially driven. I train a little bit differently. I'm just a little different. I come from a group of people who really care. I think our training is great. We have a lot to offer. But do your research and make sure that you sign up with whoever you sign up with, that they're really legitimate, they have a good reputation and long-standing in the business. But having that a certification that's accepted nationally is very important.
And
your
how long
NNA
does your
certification goes a long way.
How long does your course take to go through, Carol?
We give people 3 months, but it's 12 and a half hours of video and audio training. But then we have a lot more libraries and lots of videos and lots of things to print. And
it's just under notarytopro.com. I can go and check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Great.
All right.
And I think that's it.
Okay, fabulous. Let me get to Lorna Blue. Lorna, are you with us? I
and
see
Laura,
you need to unmute.
Laura, can I mention what you do real quickly?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear
Before
me?
Lorna gets started, Carol.
Yeah, I just want to say too that what once we train you, if you're interested in doing other things other than signing agent work and getting into general notary work and working with attorneys, or doing the branching out into other areas, you've got to go to Laura, because she has a library that's amazing. She's got so much to offer. Honestly, between she and Bill, who's the marketing guy, the three of us, we really have it going.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've checked out Laura's website, so I'm on board with that.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Patty. And Lorna, I see you're unmuted. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what state you're in and ask your question.
Okay, I'm from Texas, and I've been looking and listening about the notary business. So my question is, Texas has its own website in order to sign up for the notary, but NNA also have the same thing where you can sign up for everything with your bonding, sign up with Texas to become a notary. Is that the best way to go to NNA?
So I guess two things. Yes, you can go through what the state has. NNA, I don't know if NNA is doing the training for Texas, but you can get your supplies through them. You can have membership through them. So you have a hotline. You can, there's lots of free stuff you can access from them as well. Carol, you're in Texas now.
I
what do you
am.
have to say about Texas Notary starting out to become a notary?
Oh, I don't know much about that. We just moved here, but I will tell you that I really like the American Association of notaries. I know the owner for years personally. It's a very good resource for Texas notaries. Well, actually for notaries all over the country. He has a tremendous library, a lot of terrific people that work with him. The costs are very simple. If you buy your supplies from them, you get a free year of access to everything that they offer. So that's a great resource to have. I don't know about the E&O insurance. They do it in Texas, I know for sure, but I know he's been trying to add other states' ability to get E&O insurance from them.
Okay.
Now, whether they offer the same as NNA, where you're covered even after you're no longer commissioned, I don't know.
Yeah, tail coverage. Be careful. Make sure you have tail coverage. If you don't, that's not a good policy for you because it's only good while you pay.
Now, I also have a graduate, a longtime graduate here, and Phyllis Traylor is her name. She's in San Antonio, and she does intensive training for Texas notaries. Wonderful training. And she has a, I can't remember what her group is called, but she has a group too that yeah.
Okay, so there you got some information.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Lorna. Thank you for checking in with us. I have another Texan, it looks like Carlton.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
I wanted to ask, I kind of want to revisit the credible witness. I think you may have answered this, but I wanted to ask anyway. And obviously I'm in Texas. In Texas, I just read the Texas primer, and it says for Texas, a credible witness is someone known to the notary through normal transactions. But I've heard maybe you or someone else mention credible witness could also be ID'd. So I was just kind of curious what that finite definition of a credible witness is.
Well, the definition of a credible witness is the same for all the states. They're a human ID. What's different is the methodology of connection or identification. And in Texas, if you read the statute and it said the notary has to know that witness, you don't get the other option. Only in the states where their statutes specifically say, or through satisfactory evidence of ID, those are the only states that get to use that option.
Laura, can I chime in on that? This is Sebastian in Dallas.
Yes, Sebastian, wherever you are there.
Yeah, I don't have my video on, I'm sorry. But I actually recently had a situation where I needed a credible witness, and I read the same statute that it said that we both need to know the credible witness. But I went ahead and called this Secretary of State, and the person that I spoke to at the Secretary of State here in Texas said as long as the person knows the individual that's signing the document and can show a valid current ID, government ID, then we can accept that as proof for a credible witness.
So I hope you got that in writing, because people call into the Secretary of State of any state and can get more than one answer. And and the other thing I want to say is this, is that the statute is what they're going to hold you to. If something goes sour, that's what's the law. That's what you're going to be held to. So I'm not saying they didn't say that, and yay, because it's easier, thank goodness. But be careful when somebody on the phone tells you that it's okay to do this when the statute doesn't support it.
Okay, thank you so much, and I hope that helps.
And thank you for sharing that you got that answer. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right, Henna? Are you with us, Henna?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, speak up a little bit.
Is this better?
Yes.
I'm from California. in the loan packet, there's a form called preliminary change of ownership.
Yes.
Does that form needs to be completed by the borrower or the signer at the time of signing?
Well, it doesn't have to be. I mean, they should be doing that, but they may not know how to fill it out. And if they don't, it's not notarized. Certainly they can
Yeah, that's the
reach
thing.
out to title or reach out to whoever they have to talk
Yeah.
to get it done. But my understanding is they are supposed to fill it out. So
Yeah,
hopefully
'cause
they'll
most-
reach out.
Because most of the signers don't know the answers, you know,
Okay.
to these
Well, it's not
questions.
notarized and it's not your job to
Then I
show
asked them to
fill it
reach out to title.
Yeah, they'll have to reach
Okay.
out to title or their loan officer.
That was it. Right. Yeah, that's what I advised. Okay. That was it. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're so welcome. Patricia?
Hi, thanks. I'm from California. I need to renew I got $100,000 E&O insurance from NNA through merchants bonding. And someone said that there are probably better companies because they don't cover you if you actually make a mistake or something. They said that's not really very good coverage. Do you have any recommendation for a better E&O carrier?
So I'm going to tell you two things. One is people need to really understand what they're saying before they say it. E&O coverage is for errors and omissions that are on notarial certificate. That's what they are. All right. And there's nothing wrong with merchant bonding. I carry that myself, the $100,000, and it would cover me if I made a notary mistake. What you might be hearing is that if you make a signing agent mistake, you miscalculated the right to cancel, you made a mistake not collecting a signature, and it caused the closing not to finish in time, and now there's some kind of penalties the borrowers are facing. That is not called E&O insurance. That's called signing agent insurance for signing agent mistakes. Now, I don't carry that. It's a lot more expensive. Mm-hmm. And I don't rely on insurance anyways. I'm very good at what I do. And if there's anything that comes up, I make it right away so that nobody's coming after me. So I don't have a recommendation for you for a signing agent one. I know that Bill is aware of one, and I believe they're out of Arizona. Carol, I can't see your face, Carol. Are you aware of a signing agent insurance carrier?
For signing agent insurance, I don't recommend it. It's extremely expensive.
Exactly.
And if you're well trained and you're very careful and you do just what Laura just said, if you make a mistake, you accept it graciously, you get up off your butt and you go fix it right now. You're not going to, in all the thousands and thousands of graduates I've had, I've only had one that I'm aware of that had her E&O insurance gone after. And other than that, I've never had not seen any one of them get into the kind of trouble that it would take to warrant having signing agent insurance. And okay. Merchants bonding is the word. I mean, that's the one that 99% of us have.
Okay, well, great. Well, yeah, I took your training and it was excellent. So I'm sure I won't need it, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chris Lenahan, did I get that right?
You did. Thank you, Laura. My question is, I am in California.
Thank you.
My question is, the California per diem interest disclosure really spins out a lot of borrowers. They have all kinds of questions, and obviously we're very limited on what we can say. What is the best way around that to somewhat explain it, but yet you're not giving that legal advice?
Carol?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I get more questions about that. I get more questions as some funny. It's so simple. It just says basically, if you're in a position to fund the loan, on a Friday, and you're able to close like on a Monday or Tuesday, and they want to go ahead and make sure it funds as fast as possible, then they're going to pay interest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and possibly fund on Monday.
Right.
If they don't care, if they close Tuesday or Wednesday and they wait until Monday to fund, then they're only going to pay for Monday and possibly Tuesday. So it's saving them a per diem, $50, $60, whatever it is, every day that they don't fund, or it's costing them $50, $60 by funding a little bit earlier and covering the weekend. When they're not going to record, not going to fund and record.
Okay. And then the other question I had was, it seems like in the loan packets I've done since the beginning of the new year, there's upwards of 4 4506T forms in there. And what is the reason for that replication or redundancy?
So it might be because the loan is being sold in the secondary market and they need originals.
Okay.
I'll see that with other documents as where they're duplicated. Also, I'll see a 4506T and one that says, is it NEC or C, or it's got another initial, and that's for the electronic version.
Okay.
So there's like 2 versions of the 4506T. So
yeah,
those are the 2 things I would think about.
There's an IVES form too, and that's
yeah.
Okay. All right. So typically it's for if they're selling it on the secondary market, they need the originals.
They need wet ink, yeah, on that particular one.
Okay. Laura, Carol, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Before, I'm going to do 2 things. One is I accidentally skipped Laura's iPhone. I thought I was looking at my own name. So if you're still with us, Laura, you're next. And then the second thing is I was asked if Carol and I would state what our website is. My website is coachmelaura.com. And Carol?
Notary, the number 2 pro.com.
Thank you very much. All right, Laura, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Laura. Go ahead.
Hi.
What city are you in?
Well, first of all, thank you for everything. I am Laura. I'm from Florida, and I have been a signing agent for a year, and I have a question about the 1003, which I thought I knew all about, but recently I did a training thing for AMROC and was watching their video, so I am confused. From what I'm understanding, I had always thought if there was one borrower, this is regarding page 1, sign the top page. If there was 2, then 2 sign the top page. According to this particular video, and supposedly for all lenders, if there's one borrower, then nobody signs the top page, and if there's 2 borrowers, then both. Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, Laura, that is AMROC specific. That is not for all lenders. That is AMROC specific.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, I just want to interject because yay, we've got a new 1003 and it's finally getting out there now. Thank goodness. After all these years with that, if it's a joint application, then you both sign. Lenders don't read their own instructions.
Other lenders, on the old 1003, other lenders want one signer to sign. So if you have an AMROC job, then follow AMROC instructions. But AMROC is not for everybody.
Correct. And the only reason I was asking is that they said this is good for all lenders, but I guess what you're saying is all lenders for AMROC.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Can I ask one more question? Because you touched on the 4506. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Laura. All right, Jennifer, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you're still with us.
I am. Hi. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. My question is on the 3-day right to cancel, where I'm getting conflicting information. I've been told, obviously we print 2 packages, right? Sometimes I'll have 3 for the husband, 3 for the wife in both packages. I've been told by one person I'm supposed to have them execute all in the copy that's going back to the lender and give them 2 and keep 1 and send it back to the lender. And then I've been told by the signing agent service that I'm supposed to send all of them back to the lender and let them keep the ones in their packet, their copy of the packet.
All right. So of course we know that, you know, you can get some different instructions, and that signing services don't always know the right answers either. All I can share of my 17 years that I've been doing this is that I have them execute every single one of them for both packages. I send back what I'm required to send back to the lender, and I leave the rest. So they do not have unexecuted. The law says they have to have 2 executed each for each signer. So that's one reason I do it. And the other reason is I don't want them grabbing one that's unsigned and then filling it out themselves.
All right, so you have them sign both packages. So if there's 6 in one and 6 in the other, they sign them all.
They're gonna sign them all.
But then how do I know how many are supposed to go back?
Typically, one goes back for each signer to the lender unless I'm instructed differently.
Okay.
And sometimes you can be instructed differently, and that's fine. Then that's for that one customer.
So if my signing company is telling me to send them all back, do I do that, or do I
If
do
you're
what?
being, I get it in writing that is what, because that is not the norm.
Okay.
So I would get it in writing that that's what they want. And I would say it's only for that particular job.
Okay, well, she's a former I asked her a general question about it, and she's an former escrow officer, and she is telling me to send back all copies in the original package to the lender.
Okay, but if you send all those executed and you didn't sign any of the other ones, where's the signed ones?
Right, no, I could sign all of them, that's for sure. I just don't know which ones to send back.
Okay, well, what I'm telling you
One
is
copy.
that
Okay.
normally you send back 1 for each signer. That's the
Okay.
norm. I'm not saying that's 100% because there can be lenders that say, I want 2 or I want all or I whatever. So if you have that instruction, follow your instructions. Just make sure it's in writing on your confirmation. Carol?
We disagree a little bit.
Okay.
Because I instruct my students to, when they print, before they package them or get them ready to sign, they remove all but 2 copies. If their husband and wife are on the same one, okay, they will print 5 copies. Husband and wife will sign 2 copies each. They'll execute 2 copies each to keep themselves. And they will each execute 1 copy, which will be returned to the lender unless otherwise instructed. And of course, people have to read instructions.
Exactly.
That's the first thing they have to do. But that's what I indicate to them. So rather than having them have to sign 8 or 10 or 12 or 14 copies, which we used to have, remember those packages that sent us 12 copies?
I don't get too many packages that have that many. Usually I have what's required, but it's double because of the 2 packages. I don't have like 10 in one package and 10 in another. But you know what? If you get them and you're not instructed, what you need to do is send at least 1 back. That's for sure. And they have to have at least each 2 executed. What you do with all the other ones, you can decide.
Yeah, I just tell people, just destroy them. Don't take them blank to the signing. Just
don't leave blank ones though.
Okay, so if your signing company has told you blanketly that you send them all back, should I disregard that?
I don't think you can have a blanket statement like that. If you got instructed from that signing service for that job, follow those instructions.
It's for all jobs, she said. It was
for all jobs, for her jobs, only the ones she sends you. Not for all jobs that you get for all title or all lenders or all other signing services.
All right, I understand.
Okay.
Right, and my last question was, is there a difference between the 4506T and the 4506C?
I think one's the electronic version.
Yeah.
Carol, isn't the other one for electronic version?
I think it is, yes. And before we go, Laura, I just want to make a couple of announcements, if that's okay, because we're getting close to time
Yeah, and
here.
I have one person who's been waiting a long time and I want to hit his question. So Carol, can I
Please.
get his question
Of
in?
course, of course.
Andrew Madison, who right in the beginning figured didn't know how to do it, but he's on now. Andrew, go ahead. Oops, let me ask you to unmute.
So am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good, Andrew. What's your question?
So my question is, I'm just curious. So how do I get around the time requirements? So like, I've done the loan signings for loan modifications, but how do I get around the time requirements? Like, I called Chicago Title today. They're like, yeah, there's 2 years. Amrock tells me I have to be doing this for a year. So I've been doing this for like 6 months now, but I've only done the things through like SnapDocs and Notary Dash. SnapDocs, I can't do too many because I can't do refis, I can't do HELOCs, because here in Texas, you have to be with a title, you have to do in an attorney's office or a title company. So I can't do those. So I've got one tomorrow, but that's an investment one, so I can do that one. But I'm trying to be able to work with these other companies directly. But they're saying that, yeah, there's a 2-year limit. You have to do this for 2 years. And like I said, Amrock tells me I have to do this for a year.
Well, Amrock is off and on. I don't think they really have a hard rule of a year. But Carol, do you want to talk to him about breaking in there in Texas?
I'm sorry?
Carol, would you like to
Yes,
respond
I'm
to
here.
his question about breaking in Texas?
Well, I know how Amrock is, and even though our graduates are doing great work, getting work right away, I mean, within a week of graduating, a lot of them are going to different companies. Amrock is very firm about it. There's certain companies like BankServe is great. Now, they will take people that are brand new, but they put you kind of through the ringer. There's other companies, but Amrock, I'm hearing from my graduates that some are getting in right away and others, for some reason, it's just random and I don't understand it. I don't know whether it has to do with the area or what, but same certificate, different situations with each person. I don't know what to tell him except just gather up your experience and work with as many companies as you can, do a great job, and try to get recommendations on your website. Put some, valid recommendations and experiences with signing services or whatever.
Okay, that's cool. I have one last question. I'm having a time with this. I have the brother printer, the 5200 DW. I'm using Adobe DC, but I'm having problems trying to print out. I'm having problems trying to print out legal and thing together. I know I can't print. I can't
Andrew,
just print
one
my
of the
legal.
things that I've done is I don't open my documents and print from where I opened it. I save it to my desktop first, then I open it from there, because then the DC is working. It's not working when you just open up what you uploaded and try to print right from there, from the portal. That doesn't seem to work for me. What works is I save it first to my desktop, and then I go open it from there, and it will catch the legal letter, and then I go back and delete it later. So are you doing it from your desktop or just from the portal where you uploaded it?
Well, actually, I have one file that I'm doing it from the desktop. While we were just sitting here, I've been trying different combinations and stuff, and for some reason, it just is so stupid. It should just be automatic.
All right, that's the only recommendation that I have. I don't know if anybody else had something in the chat room, but I'm not going to take any more questions. Carol, where'd you go? Carol has a couple of announcements before we wrap up.
Just a couple things. And I just want to say real quick that I have nothing but problems with that printer. There's some drivers missing. You'll have to talk to them, but there's also some drivers missing that people have to download.
Oh, so you might want to talk to Brother for the drivers. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Carol, what were your announcements?
Yeah, I just wanted to announce a couple of things that might be interested. I know that I have students on here. Roundtable is Thursday. Is just for our students. Be sure and look in the library for that. But I do want to let anybody know that is a lot of people on this call, as well as people doing this job, are of our senior age. I just turned 78. If you're interested, we have what we call prime time. It is the third third Wednesday of every month. We will be announcing it and how to get into it. It's really interesting. We have guests, and for those of you who face the challenges of people in their senior years doing these jobs, acting as a notary and notary signing agent, you might be interested in, and I'll post that somewhere and mention it again with more detail as we get closer. And that's all I had to add. I just thought people might be interested. We do have replays of that on our website if you're interested in taking a look. So,
all right.
Other than that.
All right, guys, you all have a great week, a safe week, and a prosperous week. Enjoy your February, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See if I can, darn it, close this off.
That is a simple form to handle.